Konnichiwa. In this video, you'll learn how to conjugate into the mas form. I'd assume that mas conjugation is the very first conjugation for most of Japanese language learners. So I'll start with a 1-minute review on verb groups and talk about one of basic facts about Japanese verbs. And then we'll learn mas form conjugation. Let's do a quick 1-minute review on the Japanese verb groups. Remember that Japanese verbs are categorized into 3 groups. Group 1 is called u verb. Any verbs in the dictionary form that does not end with eru or iru are u verb. For example, iku, to go. Group 2 is called ru verb. Any verbs in the dictionary form that end with either eru or iru are ru verb. For example, taberu, to eat. Group 3 is called irregular verbs. We basically have only 2 verbs in this group, kuru, to come, and suru, to do. But the variation of kuru or suru verbs are also irregular verbs. Remember, there is an exception to this rule. Some verbs that end with eru or iru are actually u verb and belong to group 1. If you're not familiar with the verb groups in Japanese, please check out my video about the verb group. The link is in the description. Now let's make sure we all know this basic fact about Japanese verbs. When you learned hiragana, you were introduced to the hiragana chart and learned that the top one is the a row. The second one is the I row. The third one is the U row. The fourth one is the E row. And the last one is the O row. The basic fact about Japanese verbs is that all Japanese verbs in dictionary form end with a hiragana from the U row, meaning that they all end with the U sound. For example, kau, iku, hanasu, and so on. Okay, now that we covered the basic, let's learn mas conjugation for U verbs. We can conjugate U verbs to mas form in 2 steps. First, change the ending in u row to the one in the I row, and then add mas. Let's see some examples. The first example is kau, to buy. Notice that kau has the u ending in aiueo. To conjugate kau into the mas form, we change the ending from u to I by going up 1 row, and add mas, so kau becomes kaimasu. Another example is iku, to go. Iku ends with ku in kakikukeko. Change the ending from ku to ki by going up 1 row, and add mas, so iku becomes ikimasu. One more example, hanasu, to speak. Hanasu ends with su in sashisuseso. Change the ending from su to shi by going up 1 row, and add mas, so hanasu becomes hanashimasu. Let's see how we change ru verbs to the mas form. Let's look at 4 examples all at once. Taberu, to eat. Miru, to watch. Okiru, to wake up. And neru, to sleep. As the name implies, all the ru verbs end with ru. So to conjugate ru verbs into the mas form, we simply replace the last ru with mas. So taberu becomes tabemasu, miru becomes mimasu, okiru becomes okimasu, and neru becomes nemasu. Please remember that some u verbs end with ru. For ru ending u verbs, please follow the u verb conjugation rules. Next, let's see how to conjugate irregular verbs to the mas form. We basically have only 2 irregular verbs, kuru, to come, and suru, to do. The mas form of kuru is kimasu. It may be easier to just memorize, but change ku to ki and replace ru with mas. And the mas form of suru is shimasu. Change su to shi and replace ru with mas. Today we learned how to change verbs to the polite mas form. Please leave a comment if you have any questions. ありがとうございます。